On your mark, get set. Let's go. Good morning. Welcome to the Manic Monday football edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. And Plays by CJ is the first one into the Fanatics feedback zone. He says, how about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? So Dak threw for 400 yards. So what? I'll touch on that later. But CJ, it is wonderful and an honor to have you as our first commenter in the Fanatics feedback zone. A big welcome to those of you watching on Zebo TV based out of Reno, Nevada, and all points west and northwest. And a big welcome to those of you watching on BS3 TV. You can find both of those channels on Roku. Big welcome to those of you watching on Twitch, Twitter, as well as YouTube, two channels, the Shady Sports Network, as well as our flagship, Snowman Multimedia. And those of you listening on WQEE 99.1 FM in Atlanta, WIRUDB in Chicago, and WLEO in Baltimore. And we're going to add a lot more stations and have a lot more fun. If you know of a station online or terrestrial that wants to pick up the best morning sports show on the planet, have them email me at snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com. That's snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com. Want to sponsor the program? All you got to do is drop an email, snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com. That is snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com. That's not just for this program, but for any program that is run by Snowman Multimedia. And on top of that, the website has been plunged, purged, and being rebuilt starting today. You'll see current content. The archives will be worked on at a later time. And let me, from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of my crew's heart, say thank you to one and all that have tuned into this show, whether it's for a minute or for the entire 120 minutes. Y'all stuck around. Y'all told me and my crew to keep going. I can't do this without Cole Johnson, without Wise El Jefe, my brothers, without Victor La, a.k.a. Victor Locke, one of our Friday pickers for football and all the segments therein. I could not be here and do this without without any of y'all. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Did y'all see that ass whooping the 49ers put on the Jaguars in Duval County? I certainly did. 34-3 was the final score of that game. The numbers look like this. Brock Purdy, 19 of 26, 296 yards. He threw 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, he was sacked twice and lost 9 yards. The offensive line has got to clean this up. Purdy has been sacked in every game this season, but it held no consequence because the 49ers just simply dominated from taking a 10-0 lead and going on from there. Mr. McCaffrey had 16 carries for 95 yards. Deebo Samuel had 3 carries for 29 yards plus a touch. Elijah Mitchell in spot duty, 8 carries for 23 yards. George the Animal Kittle led him in receiving. He caught 3 for 116 yards and a touch, including a 66-yard touchdown, which blew the game open in the third quarter. Ayuk caught 3 for 55 yards. McCaffrey caught 6 for 47. Deebo Samuel back in the lineup caught 4 for 30. Kyle Juszczyk caught 2 for 26, and Ronnie Bell caught 1 for 20, and Jawan Jennings caught 1 for 8 yards. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, 17 of 29, 185 yards. He threw 2 interceptions. CJ Beathard and Christian Kirk also attempted to pass on a double pass. It was incomplete. CJ Beathard mopped up for the Jaguars. He was 1 of 2 on the afternoon. Travis Etienne carried the ball 9 times for 35 yards. Dearness Johnson, former Brown, had 3 for 12. Lawrence had 2 for 7. Tank Bigsby had 3 carries for 5 yards. Christian Kirk got 6 for 104 yards on the afternoon. Dearness Johnson caught a pair for 28. Calvin Ridley only caught a pair for 20. Tim Jones caught 2 for 17. Evan Ingram caught 4 passes for 12 yards. Travis Etienne caught 2 passes for 9 yards. The game was played in 3 hours and 20 minutes, and the attendance 69,271. The 49ers defense, Dre Greenlaw had 8 tackles on the afternoon. Talanoa Hufanga the same. Fred Warner and Diamondor Lenore had 7 tackles. Javon Hargrave had 4. Nick Bosa had 3 tackles, 2 of them solo, and plus he had a sack and a half along with Javon Hargrave. The 49ers defense collected 5 sacks on the afternoon. The 49ers are back. They halt that 3-game losing streak, and now they move on to host a downtrodden Tampa Bay ball club before, excuse me, they host Tampa Bay before a Thanksgiving match against the Seattle Seahawks. What I saw yesterday was the resurgence of the San Francisco 49ers. People may not believe it, but they are 6-3. They're sitting up top the West Division thanks to their division record because Seattle also won. And we have a chance in 2 weeks' time to put Seattle away and put the NFC West away. I predicted that the 49ers will clinch by week 15 or 16. And they just might do it because they have owned the West. They've won their last 8 games in the West Division, but I digress. To this game, I can tell you from the first series, the 49ers look back to their old selves. Everyone is healthy. Steve Wilkes was coaching the defense on the sidelines, and I think that made a difference because when you see your defensive coach get a chance to see the signals and you see the fellow that's leading your defense, I beg your pardon. And to me, that was a difference maker because they had the week off. They had a chance to heal. They had the bye week last week. They had a chance to heal, a chance to really focus and reset. And I mean, this entire team had a chance to focus and reset. 3 consecutive losses, they scored 17 points. Yesterday, they doubled that against the team with a winning record. And a good friend of mine, Ab Stanley, love you, brother, talked about the narrative that Miami can't beat winning teams. That's not a narrative. That's fact. We've beaten 2 playoff teams so far. One being the Cowboys, the other being the Jacksonville Jaguars. A potential playoff team in the Pittsburgh Steelers. A potential playoff team in the Los Angeles Rams. Beat them. And beat them both on the road before we had our home opener. I will say this right now, and this may be an overreaction to a lot of people. Not a matter of fact, I know this is going to be a overreaction to a lot of people. But from what I saw yesterday, the 49ers look like Super Bowl contenders again. Brock Purdy threw 3 touchdown passes, including that 66-yarder to George Kittle. Eric Armstead said, quote, "We know who we are. We know what we're capable of. We have an extremely high standard for ourselves, bigger than any people or any outside people can put on us. We want to be great. We want to be dominant, and we want to play at a high level. And we know our team is going to need us to do that." Close quote. That's from Eric Armstead. You know what's fun? Seeing them come back together. I've seen this so many times before with the 49ers. I've seen this so many times before. You can't tell me that they don't look like a Super Bowl contender. Now, I know a lot of people are going to point to the 3-game losing streak beforehand and say you can't say they're not a Super Bowl contender. Oh, yeah, I can and I will. And here's one point. The 49ers have surrendered only 143 points on the season. That's with the 3-game winning streak. That defense looks as dominant as it was once upon a time. And it's going to take them a couple of weeks to get back there. I know that. I realize that. I know that, and I realize that. But you know something? From what I saw yesterday, the 49ers are back, and the NFC, I believe, is in trouble. Deep trouble. Ryan McCarthy joins us here. He says, I thought this was Snowman in the Morning and not that 49ers show. This is only a segment, my friend. Ryan McCarthy will join me next. He says, anyway, don't expect any Jets talk this morning, folks. I will not talk about the pathetic offense of this team until they score a touchdown in the red zone or otherwise. Comey Media joins, says, well, Ryan McCarthy, you could be proud of Zach Wilson. He pulled a Dak Prescott lunging for the end zone. That looked impressive. He backs it up with, says, good morning, Fanatics Feedback Zone. Mr. Johnson, good morning to you. You can hear Cowboys fans singing now. Ain't nobody calling me. Ain't nobody. Hawk TV, courtesy of Chase Young via the Washington Redskins. Yeah. Chase Young looked absolutely great. Opposite of Nick Bosa. They get another piece of the puzzle and a chance to make that defense, as I said, just as dominant as they were before that 3-game losing streak. And I'll tell you something. When Cincinnati kicked our ass at Levi's Stadium, it reminded me of what happened against Philadelphia in 1994. Steve Young got benched in that game. Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions, and he said it himself. I shouldn't have. I take responsibility for those turnovers. This 49ers team, when they're healthy, because Trent Williams was back in the lineup, Deebo Samuel back in the lineup, this 49er team is scary. And when they're healthy, they are damn good. Brian Snow here with you, along with the playmaker, the hottest working man in content creation, Mr. Darnell Solins. And I want to be like you when I grow up. Just create a lot of content and have people enjoy it all. And
right now we got more content to create, so push the button.
I'm trying to push the button. Damn it. Via the Invader Coffee Hotline, we're joined by Ryan McCarthy, a.k.a., as Victor says, Espresso McCarthy. How are you, sir?
Mixed feelings. I refuse, as I said in the chat, I refuse to talk about last night's game. I refuse to talk about the New York Jets offense. I refuse to talk about how scared this coaching staff is. So we're going to save that tonight for Not Victory Monday.
And trays, 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 trays.
I also have a limited amount of time, so if I stay on that topic, it'll take the entire segment. So I choose to go to a happier topic,
which is
the Grey Cup,
which is the Grey Cup playoffs,
which you two called on Saturday.
We sure
Stop
did.
The cap.
You're wrong, Cole. You're wrong. It's not cap. That's how I feel this morning.
What's the brew this morning, my friend?
Water.
I agree.
I already had my brew, so I'm good to go for the rest of the day.
So what you have? What brew did you?
Death Wish coffee, medium roast.
Sweet.
So, question before you start. May I be the one to go off on your Jets and the NFL for that matter?
After I leave, yes.
Okay.
I only have a limited amount. I only got a limited amount of time, so.
But the CFL playoff games that Ryan and I did on Saturday, and thank you to those of you who popped on to watch with us. First of all, Ryan, a joy, a thrill, and a blast to work with you on the CFL games. We had an incredible time doing both those games. Let's start with the East Division.
But I'll never do it again. My voice was
back
shot.
to. You see this? This was full of
Yeah.
tea when I got done.
Yeah, I grabbed
this-
myself a cup of tea afterwards too, just to
Yes.
You say that this guy was up 9:30 in the morning calling the Colts game.
I nearly overslept. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. I signed off, and then my wife came in because she was hanging with Dakota, our son, for the day. She came in and she heard my voice, gave me a kiss, went into the kitchen, and filled this up with water, and then filled this up with green tea.
Smart.
And she gave me an order.
That's a good woman right there.
Huh?
That's a good woman right there.
She also gave me an order. She says, you are not to talk for the rest of the night because your voice is shot to hell. I said, yes, ma'am. I went to bed. Somehow I knew that was coming. I went to bed. I went to bed early. I woke up and Jody says, what time is it? I said, it's 7:30. She says, why don't you take care of the dog and then come back to bed and sleep for a little while? Because I know you're going to do the Colts game while I'm driving. Okay. Took the dog out, came back, sat down, laid down. And I said, okay, I'm not gonna fall asleep because it's close to 8:00. Yeah, I woke up at 9:15.
You for real?
And then got in here, took care of business. But the CFL division finals, Marc-Andre Lacroix.
Sorry, let me correct it. Marc-Antoine Ducroix.
Marc-Antoine Ducroix. Thank you.
Yeah.
Marc-Antoine Ducroix put the East Division final out of reach on one play.
And it was on the first series of the game.
And we both thought Toronto was just going to march right down the field, stick in the end zone, and then blow the Alouettes away. But the Alouettes had other plans.
Yep. That defense was just incredible. They had a great game plan. Defensive coordinator Noel Thorpe drew up a game plan for that team, and they just dominated. Dominated. And it was every bit of a shock to me as it was to you, and I'm pretty sure the entire CFL football world.
38-17 was the final. After an incredible season for Toronto, the Alouettes made Chad Kelly look very pedestrian on Saturday.
They did. Certainly did.
Meanwhile, Cody Fajardo got a couple of measures of revenge because he got that Montreal offense. After that pick six started the scoring and opened the floodgates, and Fajardo got his act together late second quarter. He basically directed that offense damn near minus a flaw.
Yeah, it was around the third quarter after that second interception that Fajardo started to get things going.
Yes.
And if you're a Saskatchewan Roughriders fan, how do you feel right now this morning? How do you feel between not only one, but two quarterbacks who have come through Saskatchewan and Zach Collaros, who was traded to Toronto and then traded to Winnipeg for a couple draft picks, leads the Blue Bombers to a Grey Cup in 2019 and 2021, led them to the Grey Cup in 2022, but we all know what happened there. And then to see Cody Fajardo leave, basically you ran him out of town. Your fans and your media ran him out of town because they thought, nope, this is not our quarterback. And they ran Jason Moss out of town too.
Yeah.
And look where they are now.
Playing for the Grey Cup.
Yep.
Playing for the Grey Cup. Speaking of Zach Collaros and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, that West Division final was every bit of a hard-hitting finals we thought it to be. The Blue Bombers got their act together, but down 18-3, Vernon Adams threw up a Hail Mary, which wound up being deflected and caught by McInnes.
Yep.
Make it 18-10. But we both said and thought during the broadcast, it's 18-10. The BC Lions looked like they were getting their act together, but it just seemed Winnipeg just put up a couple of walls between them and BC could never catch through. As close as this game was, 24-13 was the final. As close as this game was, even with the Hail Mary, after Winnipeg grabbed the lead, they ran away and hid.
Yeah, and as I mentioned during the broadcast, I gotta give full credit to the BC Lions defense for clamping things down in the second half.
Mhm.
They stopped the run. They made the adjustments. They stopped Brady Oliveira, who had 101 yards in the first half, only
Yeah.
gained about 8 yards in the second half. But Kolaros did what he had to do, and got some key crucial first downs, and they just kept adding points. They kicked field goals, yeah, but it was enough because their defense was so keyed in on stopping Vernon Adams to the tune of 10 sacks.
10 sacks.
And it was just a marvelous performance by that defensive line, playing inspirationally because Adam Bighill went out and he went up leaving the field on crutches after Saturday night's game. So I don't know what the extent of his injury is, or whether or not he's going to be playing in the Grey Cup Championship. I hope he does.
I hope he does too.
Doesn't sound like he's gonna.
We will keep our eyes on that. Ryan and I will have the call of the Grey Cup Sunday. 6 p.m. is the kickoff time from Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, Ontario. And Ryan and I were talking after the broadcast, and we both said, okay, we got to do this again for different sports. And hockey is going to be one of the main sports that we call. In fact, I'm planning my first hockey call for Thursday. Is that Thursday? Yes, Thursday, when the Tampa Bay Lightning visit Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. And speaking of Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks, Cole's going to continue to tease me. I know that. Speaking of Connor Bedard, wait, I gotta get my sound base up here, and I didn't have it ready because we're talking hockey. But be that as it may, when the playmaker said that the offensive rookie of the year in the NFL is wrapped up, I will tell you right now that the rookie of the year in the NHL is all but wrapped up. And we're only a few games into the season, because if anyone has seen Connor Bedard, the Blackhawks have their centerpiece for the next part of their dynasty. Period.
Yeah. No, they certainly do. So I'm looking at the stats right now. The Vancouver Canucks have 5 of the top scorers in the NHL.
Yeah.
5. They have a great bounce back season.
They are.
Yes, I am for real, Dolomite.
You have that piece on No Credentials Required, do you not?
I do have that element, yes.
Good, because I know I'm going to see that element a lot tonight.
Oh, yes, you are.
I'm going to see that. I'm going to see that a lot. I'm going to peek in before I start my broadcast with the Bulls and the Bucks. That's our NBA broadcast tonight, and I'm excited to do that. But man, it was so exciting working with you this past Saturday. We had a ball doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. It was fun.
Had a blast doing it. Second game, O'Brien says, "I'll let you take the lead for that," and I did that game, and it felt good. For me personally, it felt good to feel like I'm back in the booth, even though this is virtual. This is alternative play-by-play. It just felt good to do. It just felt good. It just felt good to do, and it made me realize for a long time I operated out of a lack of confidence. Given the physical changes that I've gone through and the emotional and the mental changes I've gone through in the past 2 years, fighting blood clots, fighting cancer, and I just operate. And Cole said it to me. He said, "Quit operating out of fear."
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Cole said. Quit operating out of fear. And then Jody came to me after I stopped the baseball broadcast, and then yesterday, not yesterday, Saturday, she says, "How much do you love doing this?" I said, I absolutely loved it. I loved it for 30 years. And she simply told me, good, act like it, play like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what-
unlike the New York Jets offensive coaching staff, you're not going out of fear. Much more tonight on Not Victory Monday on No Questions Required. Tune in. It will definitely be a not safe for work broadcast. That's for sure.
8 p.m. start time.
8:30 p.m. start time.
8:30. Okay.
Regular show this week. Regular show this week will be at 8 p.m. on Wednesday.
I will definitely have that on in the background while I'm calling the Bulls game tonight. Colson's, I wonder how you two lasted doing back-to-back games and still had your voices. You know what's crazy? Barely being the operative word. By the time the second half of BC and Winnipeg hit, I was done. I was out of energy. And somehow I got through. I know there were a few plays I missed. I got through the second half, and after we signed off the broadcast, my body just went.
Yep, I got myself a cup of tea with some honey and just sat in the living room and just watched a couple of YouTube videos while I sip my tea and enjoyed the rest of my night. Went to bed, went to church the next day. So,
yep,
that was my Sunday.
I went to bed. I woke up at 9:15. I quickly put the set together, and by halftime, Jody was getting on the road, and went to the half. I put the graphic up. Got a kiss from her, and she says, "I want to hear the second half of the game." No, she didn't leave. Not when she leave. She left during the second quarter. I beg your pardon. And she heard me scream touchdown INDY, and that was the only touchdown in the game.
How much of a slog was it to get through that game?
Well, if Cole Johnson's listening, it was bowling shoe ugly.
I would say it was double bowling shoe pug fugly.
Cole, push the button. It was bowling shoe dumpster pelican ugly. And by the time I completed that game, and I had plans of doing the 49ers and Jaguars.
Why the you lying? Why you always lying?
F you, Cole. But then I got to the fourth quarter, and he had every right to push that button. He did. I got to the fourth quarter, and it's like he just said. It's amazing when you know your body's off. You get that power, and then literally crash after it knows you don't need the energy any longer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because yesterday, after I signed off, I struck the set and I crashed.
Yeah.
By the time I woke up, it was halftime of the 49ers and Jaguars.
Yeah. On Saturdays, I get up. I've been getting up earlier to get morning workout in because I feel that's part of my weekend routine now, just to get in a workout.
Yeah.
And
same here.
By 8-9 p.m., especially now that the sun's going down so early. Like yesterday, I was talking to my sister. I said it was 7 o'clock and it was pitch black dark, and I said, "How is it only 7 o'clock?" And I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. But it's like when you get up early and you run around and do stuff all day, and then by the time the sun goes down and it gets to be about 8-9 o'clock, you're just ready to just call it a day.
Fall out.
This especially happens as you get older too.
Mm-hmm.
So all that
It's
youthful
like,
energy you had is like, no, not so much anymore.
it's like George Carlin said. You ever fall asleep on a late afternoon and wake up after dark and you don't know what day it is? Ryan McCarthy joins us as he does every Monday. Don't forget tonight, 8:30, he's going to go completely off on the New York Jets. And I'm so looking forward to that. I'm so
It's
looking
not so
forward
much.
to that.
It's not so much the entire team. It's one aspect of the team. The defense is look. Let's just put it this way. Whoever, which I mean, there's multifaceted points to blame for
Yep.
this particular effort over the last 3 weeks. I'd say, dare I say, four games.
Yep.
So the defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense.
It is. It is.
And the offense is stuck somewhere in the like I said last week, no crunch was required. The offense is stuck somewhere in the preseason, still figuring things out. So
you want to talk about the Jets?
I'm leaving. Okay. But I'm just giving people a sneak preview of what's to come tonight at 8:30 on Not Victory Monday.
Oh, you giving them the nice version?
Yes.
I'm giving them the nice version.
He's
Good cop.
giving
This is good cop version. Bad cop version comes at 8:30.
Bad cop comes at 8:30 tonight. Thank you, brother. We love you. Thank you so much. I can't wait to work the Great Cup with you on Sunday. Thank you very much.
Yep. And just an FYI, just save you on your schedules, people. Thanksgiving morning, Dustin and I will be back with our Thanksgiving special, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Thanksgiving morning. Don't watch the parade. Watch us instead.
Is he a Seahawks fan?
Yes.
Good. Tell him I want him for the 49ers and Seahawks on Thanksgiving.
I'll do my best.
All right. I got to connect with him anyway. All right, we're running behind. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, brother.
There, guys.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. The Playmaker riding shotgun with me, Cole Johnson in the background, and no more wasting time. We have a quote-unquote Hall of Famer to discuss. And this is where Jay Spivey goes completely off.
Hall of Famer? Where?
Sorry. Do it again. Out of North Carolina, welcome Jay Spivey on the Invader Coffee Hotline. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir, to you.
Okay.
Jay, what's good?
This is
living the dream.
This is where I'm gonna hand you a layup.
Good. I'm looking forward to that.
Because our esteemed and wonderful executive producer, Mr. Cole Johnson,
he is that, by the way,
sent a gem to me. And this gem features Cameron Jarrell Newton.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I will attempt to play this and see what happens.
And all the things Jay can talk about, y'all want this man continue to
y'all
talk
trust me on this one. Trust me.
Answer the question. Hell yeah. I'll say it like this. When I first came into the league, it was only one of me. Now when I look around the league, I see so many me's.
Oh my God. Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson.
I'll stop there. Cam Newton and Cole, I wish you were up here with me. says that he belongs and deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And
Well,
since we're handing out, you know what? I'm going to do this. Since Cam Newton believes that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and Jay Spivey is with us from North Carolina, Cam Newton, sit down. It's all yours, brother.
well, as I've told you guys many times, there are a lot of Cam sycophants out there who apparently can't see the light of day.
Right.
If they honestly think he's a Hall of Famer, they need to look at some stats of some people who should be in, who are not in there, who are already eligible,
Like Roger
and
Craig.
compare their stats to his and see what you think.
Like Roger Craig, perhaps.
He would be one, that's for sure. And then he gets on there and, of course, talks about himself.
Of course he does.
He can't stop himself.
He can't help himself either.
Well, that's for sure. He's not the same as some of these other guys. He's just having to be a bulldozer / great athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he and Lamar Jackson aren't the same quarterback.
Not even close.
He honestly thinks he's a Hall of Famer. And there's probably a million other people who think he is too. He's not. He had just a few decent years. The year they won the Super Bowl, he had a really good year. I'll give him that. But other than that, he really didn't do anything great.
Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about again? The year.
Cam.
Oh.
Well, y'all know what I call him. I call him Scam.
Scam Newton. Yep.
I call him Scam.
The year they went to the Super Bowl, they got freaking lucky.
And then he got trashed in the Super Bowl.
Oh, he got obliterated in the Super Bowl.
Cam, that's a football. That is your most prized possession.
And then 7 months later, he opens on Thursday night football and gets trashed again by the same team.
And got beat up worse.
And he blamed the referees. Says he got mistreated. He got unfair treatment. No, he didn't.
Well,
he just can't play football.
I would say some of them his was kind of
no.
Not all, but
no. He whined after the Super Bowl. He whined after the Thursday night game. No.
Whined after the Super Bowl. He didn't even speak after the Super Bowl. That's why people
like a little child.
Where were you?
He
walked
walked
like
out.
a petulant child.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
Cam Newton. I'm looking at your career stats here, sir.
Oh dear.
And ESPN gives it to me by season. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 times in your entire career, you had a completion percentage over 65.
Which is pretty much the norm these days.
Yep, it is.
That's the minimum norm.
Very much so.
Your career percentage can't even hit 60. You literally can get 0.1 to get 60. They got you at 59.9. Sir, you have thrown
What's
for
his,
a total of
how many years did he play?
They got it from 2011 to 2021.
And how many interceptions did he have?
So you have thrown 194 touchdowns in 10 years.
And how many interceptions?
123 interceptions.
That's way too. That percentage is way too high.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much these days. It's got good 4-1 these days, and he's not even 2-1.
Nope. He was even in his Super Bowl year. He was not 2-1. He got to the Super Bowl. He got his Panthers to the Super Bowl because of his legs, not his arms.
Exactly. And then when he fizzled out and still thinks he can still play, he can't throw the ball 10 yards and he can't run 5 yards.
You literally threw for 32,382 yards in 10 years.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of upset fans when a lot of upset Panthers fans.
A lot of upset.
Who's going to be really upset when he's not in there.
And we know a couple of Panther apologists, Jay.
Oh, not sure. I know many. I know many
also, and one in particular who just seems to want to talk about his team, even though they're sucking out loud.
They are horrible.
They are sucking out loud.
Listen, I watched almost all the single games I watched. That Thursday night game was horrible.
That Thursday night game was trash. I'm glad that A, I didn't watch it. B, it turned into a date night for me and my honey. And C, we didn't care.
And you talk about something that's coming up this Sunday that's going to be embarrassing. Wait till it's literally a Cowboys crowd home game in Charlotte, North Carolina on Sunday afternoon.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, they still them boys.
You know what, Jay? That makes it so bad. Talking to Panther apologists Friday morning, they still seem to think that they can get better. And they have yet to solve the one major problem
that you've been saying for 3 years.
Yep. We've been saying this for the 3 years we've been on air together.
Their offensive line is terrible.
Listen, Jay, you and I both know a mutual friend in Mick Mixon, the retired voice of the Carolina Panthers.
Dude.
Listen, Mick, when I first got hooked up with Mick through you know who.
Mm-hmm.
Mick called me before we went on air, and he said, "How do you want it?" I said, "You're talking about the Panthers?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Bring it." I told Mick Mixon to bring it, and every week for 2 seasons he brought it. And I mean, he was honest, and I appreciate him being honest about his team. And Jay, you and I have talked, and he highlighted the one thing that you and I have talked about that has been the major problem with the Carolina Panthers for the past 5 years. What are those 2 words I'm looking for?
Offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Is it me or did Honor who realized that Thursday night game that the Panthers took 3 L's?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You took 3 L's.
Yep.
Obviously, you lost the game. That's the main L right there.
Now we can all see right now that Bryce Young is struggling, but we don't know if it's strictly because of him. Obviously he's got to take some of the blame. I get that too.
Right.
And everyone's comparing him to Stroud. I get that too.
You lost the game.
Clearly, Houston's a lot better than the Panthers are.
You lost to DJ Moore,
and they have no receivers because they let the Bears absolutely fleece them in that trade. Because the Bears said they were not going to make the trade unless they threw DJ Moore in the trade.
DJ Moore in there, yep.
And speaking of that trade with DJ Moore, you are at the second worst record in the league, which belongs to the Bears.
Mm-hmm. With the loss to the Bears.
And they don't have no number 1 picks this year. So it's not going to get any better.
Mm-mm.
The Bears beat you 3 times in one
night. You
have
no receivers whatsoever. Adam Thielen, 30-some years old, is your best receiver.
And they don't use him.
And they don't have a tight end, which you have to have in this day and age.
Oh, yeah. Got to. Got to.
Now, I want to expand this from just Charlotte because, Jay, does the people in North Carolina have anything to cheer about?
No.
Anywhere?
Well, I've told y'all before, told everybody, the best pro sports team in this state is the Hurricanes, but nobody ever talks about them. They are well run. They are a well run organization.
Well, we talk
the Panthers and Hornets are horrible.
Well, we talk about them here. And speaking of North Carolina, I am clearly going to throw somebody under the bus, and Jay know who that person is.
Tar Heels fell off the map. The Blue Devils fell off the map.
Say again.
I said the Tar Heels don't fell off the map. The Blue Devils fell off the map.
Oh, the Blue Devils lost. Listen, the Blue Devils lost to the Arizona Wildcats at home.
Well, I've got another story to tell you in regard to that if you got a second.
Go.
I was at a high school football game with said person on Friday, sitting probably 10 feet from that person. And a good friend of mine was apparently watching. He's a big Carolina guy.
Yeah.
Apparently watching the Duke game at home from his living room. And bear in mind it's November on Friday. That was the 10th.
Yes.
November 10th. Duke playing their second game of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all excited that Arizona had beaten him. And I said, why do you care? Duke might win the national championship, and you're all over. He says, it's always great when Duke loses. I said, why is that so important? And this goes back to that Carolina, Kansas argument, however many years ago that was.
2 years ago.
When they said it didn't matter that they lost to Kansas as long as they beat Duke in the Final Four.
Beat Duke in the Final Four.
And I just don't understand that. They want to just worry about Duke all the time. Why do you care about what Duke's doing in November?
They don't, because they don't care. They don't care about March. That's a simple.
And I spoke to said person about this yesterday because I saw him, and I said, "Why do you care so much in November?" He says, "It's always college basketball season." And I said, "No, it's not. Just because they're in season now doesn't mean that Duke's not going to be real good by April. Duke could very well win the national championship. So what does the Arizona loss have to do with anything?"
It's so early, and people were the same way when Illinois beat them at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Well, you and I grew up at a time, and I firmly believe this. Don't get me wrong. I love college basketball. Don't get me wrong. But I grew up at a time when it was really good, when college basketball did not start until the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
That's when it should start.
That's when the fun starts.
That's when it should start.
That's when.
But not anymore.
Nope. That's exactly when the fun starts.
And it really doesn't get really good until after the Super Bowl's over, because nobody really cares anymore until the Super Bowl's over.
And the only thing about college basketball that people watch is the Maui tournament.
Well, that's true. That's part of it.
So based on what Jay is saying, nobody cared about the fact that the NC State ladies took down UConn.
No, that's not one. I'm not.
No.
I'm strictly talking men's basketball. Men's basketball. I told you,
basketball is much.
Snowman will attest. I watched a good chunk of the Iowa game last week.
Same.
I watched a good chunk of the Iowa game last week. They played Virginia Tech.
Yep.
For women's basketball is a whole different thing.
Okay.
Although I do think that these executives at these networks are absolutely idiotic for putting these games on Sunday afternoon.
I agree.
Just like yesterday, nobody watched that game.
And I talked about this. I talked about this before, and people think I'm nuts when I say this, but I don't care. Women's basketball should have a bigger spotlight than what men's basketball has.
Right now, yeah.
Guess what? The idiots in charge, that includes the WNBA, keep putting them up against the National Football League.
Well, that's one point about putting them on Sunday afternoon.
There's a problem.
Almost all the high-profile women's games throughout the season.
Why is your WNBA final? It's between the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock games of the National Football Sunday.
Well, again, makes no sense.
None.
The WNBA finals were all 2 different Sundays. Made no sense.
Here's another thing, and Jay and I talked about this off the air. When a women's basketball game can draw 55,000 people,
and an exhibition.
It was an exhibition against DePaul. First of all, it shouldn't have been an exhibition. Second of all, 55,000 fans. They sold that game out within an hour, as I've read,
because of one person,
Caitlin Clark.
I will give Debbie Antonelli did the color for the game against Virginia Tech the other night in Charlotte, and I'll give her 100% credit for bringing up this term. She called it Clarkonomics,
and
she's 100% right, because they're still out arenas all over the country.
I plan to cover quite a few Iowa Hawkeye games in the very near future. I plan to cover like I said, a couple of Iowa Hawkeye games. Not just what am I talking about? Not just a couple. It's just going to depend on my work schedule. And when Jay and I hooked up and got started with him appearing on my show, we started talking a lot of women's college basketball. And off the air, after the first time we talked about it, he said, Brian, please cover more women's basketball. That same day, Jody came to me with the suggestion. Well, y'all are going to be happy to know I'm going to follow it, because there are quite a few games on my days and my nights off that I can do, and that I can cover, that I can do play by play for. Said person, and I never told this story to Jay, but I'll tell it now. Said person, when I was getting barely $20 a basketball game from him, gave me all kinds of accolades and all kinds of praise when he heard my call. When he heard my call, because he was my producer one afternoon. He gave me all kinds of accolades and all kinds of praise in a group chat, part 1. Yeah, you know where I'm going. Part 2, he never said it to my face.
Of course not. Because it wasn't about him.
He never said it to my face. He said it in a group chat. He said it in a group chat, but he never said it to my face. He never complimented me to my face. Am I throwing him under the bus? No, I'm throwing his ass under a semi and I'm running him over because of what he did to Jay, what he's done to me, and what he's doing to Brett Wiseman. That poor kid. When he said, and I was Jay, playmaker, and all involved, I was so close to having him on my network. I was a couple days away. Then he announced he was rejoining Tobacco Road Sports Radio when another gig that he had, he got removed from, and I think it was the baseball gig that
it was hockey. I believe it was hockey.
Oh, it was hockey. Okay,
yeah.
Okay. He's doing hockey again.
Yeah, for a different team.
Yep, he's with
different team in the same league, by the way.
Yep, different team, same league, and he's the voice. And congratulations to him. Love the kid. It's the fact that he's connected with this network that Jay and I were connected to. Here's the sad part about it. Jay started doing a paywall type column, and said person came to me with the same suggestion. Yeah, Darnell, you're going to get a laugh and a kick out of this. You know, we never got paid for it.
Not a penny. Not one penny.
When Jay came to me and said, I'm not getting paid for this. That was February of 2021 when he came to me. That stuck in my head that night. The next morning, and this is when I was taping Snowman in the morning. The next morning, I was running my program, and Jody came to me. Jody said, why are you doing this and you're not getting your full benefit for it? 15 minutes later, I pulled my program from his network. I wrote him a note saying, I ain't coming back. And that afternoon, me and Jody went to Tennessee just to have a day away. It's like you said, Jay, when you do people right, when you treat people right, they return the favor.
No. And do you think he knows a single player in women's basketball in the state?
Hell to the no. I'll answer that. Hell to the no. I wanted to do girls basketball for his network, but he never brought it to me.
Of course not.
He never brought it to me.
Of course not. And I go back to that game the other night in Charlotte.
Yes.
Iowa City is nowhere near Charlotte, but they sold out, and they estimated on TV that it was worth $10 million for the city of Charlotte. That one game.
In Charlotte at the Spectrum Center.
One game, it was estimated $10 million benefit to the city. Just because of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark on one side, Georgia Amore on the other side.
When was the last women's basketball player to have that kind of economic impact?
It's been a while.
It's been not since Rebecca Lobo with Connecticut, and that was 1995. And at that time, they didn't know what to do with it. And I'm talking about the NCAA and the networks involved, because they have never, not in a while, not since Cheryl Miller in 1982, seen a player so dominant that can dominate a game. The closest to that time was Cheryl Swoops.
Here's one thing I've realized. This is especially with like, your upper echelon women's coaches over the years, like Pat Somagino, Kim Mulkey, Dawn Staley, and those types. If you got a star player, you need to promote the star player any way possible.
Yep.
And they always played head-to-head against each other or played big-time games, big tournaments, or whatever. They will always try to get on TV. I will never forget that. And forgive me, I cannot remember her name, but when Delaware had Elena Deladon, and they never were on national TV because their coach never promoted it.
Mm-hmm.
And now this coach is now got fired from another job, and look where the University of Delaware is now. When they have one of the best women's players of all time on your team for 4 years.
And no promotion whatsoever.
Zero. Now, I was doing the complete opposite, and that is genius. Look how many millions of dollars they're raking in because of one person.
Very much so. And we haven't even seen her, and we haven't even seen 2 full seasons because until last year, no one knew who Caitlin Clark was.
Nope.
I mean, not from the standpoint that she's a horrible basketball player, quite the opposite. But from the standpoint of there was no promotion for Caitlin Clark and no promotion for Big Ten women's basketball. When last year completed with Iowa playing for the national championship against another star, I don't know, Angel Reese, who are good friends, by the way.
Yeah.
They're very good. They're very good friends. They are very good friends. Now you see Angel Reese getting a lot of promotion, Caitlin Clark getting a lot of promotion, University of Connecticut, Paige Beckers getting a lot of promotion. There's a lot of promotion.
Well, especially with NIL right now.
Yep.
I can't even imagine, and I'm sure there's a way to figure this out. Could you imagine what Caitlin Clark means to the University of Iowa?
Oh, God.
How many millions of dollars she is given to that school because of her name alone?
Mm-hmm.
With jersey sales and selling out arenas and everything else that goes along with being a star. I can't imagine. I mean, it's like they were saying the other night in Charlotte, everybody was wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys in Charlotte, and they don't. That's 1,500 miles from Charlotte.
Yep. And they were all wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys. They were all wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys. I mean, the first true home game at Carver Hawkeye Arena, good Lord.
Oh, you cannot get tickets there.
The whole season.
But a lot of Iowa fans are going to the other Big Ten cities and selling out those arenas as well.
And all because of one person. Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the reason women's college basketball, I believe, is back on the map. And I think it's here to stay.
Oh, no doubt.
The closest to the closest was Paige Beckers, and she went down with an injury 2 years ago.
Well, I hope she gets a lot better because her first game back was early last week. So let's hope she gets back to 100%.
They need Connecticut and college basketball needs Paige Beckers.
Oh, no doubt.
They need Paige Beckers. And we're out of time. Jay Spivey joining us as he does every single Monday. Jay, I will talk to you tomorrow because I want to do a special interview with you talking women's basketball if you're interested.
What time are we talking about?
2:00.
Hopefully I can be done, but I'll try to be available.
Keep me posted, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so very much for joining us, and I truly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Time. Thank you to the Playmaker for riding shotgun. Thank you to Vikalah and his comments, and to everyone in the Fanatics feedback zone. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in. Today's show was brought to you by BetUS.com, where the game begins, and by Invader Coffee. You go to InvaderCoffee.com, sign up, and you get 15%. You get 50% off of your purchase. For Cole Johnson, our fabulous executive producer, our co-producer Shane Lake. For the playmaker, Darnell Solins, I am Brian Snow, a.k.a. the Snowman, wishing you all a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move, and always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.